Hey everyone, I'm Joe, the founder of Hammer Studios, which is kind of annoying seeing as both Gage and David beat me to the punch in posting their videos. So here I am at number 3. Not much really about me. Okay, I guess there is. I'm a bit of a parkour junkie, or pretend to be at least. Don't actually get the time to do it very much. Been a programmer since around 6th grade when I first picked up a TI and started programming on it. Done a bit of 3D modeling, and it's looking like I'm going to be doing most of it for our game because who we thought we had for our 3D modeler, Kenny, decided that he didn't really feel like doing much. So who knows, he might end up doing some more over the summer and getting back into things. But until then, I've been doing all the work on the modeling. So I'm going to show you a bit of what I'm doing right now, but first I'd like to get into Hammer Studios itself as a group, because that's really what these videos are more about, and you'll probably see more about the game as we continue in our other videos. So I founded Hammer Studios start of this school year, so late 2009, and been thinking about something like it for 2 years really. A few friends of mine had tossed the idea around a bit, just wasting time and lunch and all that, and didn't go anywhere. But junior year I decided I'd actually make something out of it, so took a couple of weeks, but I finally got people around who were willing to work on it. Found out half of them weren't. But now I've got people who I hope are going to continue working on this. So should be continuing to work along pretty nicely. As David said, or I believe he said, we're making a FPS in Unreal Development Kit. If you know the tools at all, we'd love to have you along. Most of us are starting from scratch and working our way up, learning the skills and tools we need as we go along. So whatever your level of skill is, we'd really welcome you along. More about the game. It's an FPS, yeah, and you're rebelling against the government. That's really the main way we're going with this game. If you've ever seen the old movie Red Dawn, then you'll have a real strong idea of where we're going with this. It's going to be set in the Southwest mostly. Hard to explain if you haven't seen the movie, but basically you're going to start from one of 4 character placements, and those different characters will have different backgrounds and start off differently in different places of the map and all that, sort of the way Dragon Age's different origin stories worked into one overall branching storyline. And from there, the idea is a mostly sandbox game where you control your own rebellion and fight, eventually toppling the government. And that would basically be the end of the game right there, the end game. We're thinking of having the game be really large. We're working in World Machine to create the overall game map. The idea is to have a map the size of Morrowind, or a bit bigger than Oblivion if you've played either of those, or maybe if you've played Fallout, it would be about 4 times the size of that map. It may sound like that's just ridiculously huge, but the idea we're going for here isn't so much of a crammed world as a lot of other games have gone with, but more of a open, you can go here and expect that you might not actually have to fight people all the way there just to get where you want to go. If you're looking for size, I guess Far Cry really would be the size we're hoping for, where you just go and most of the time you won't run into people, but you're going to want a vehicle if you're trying to get somewhere. Now, one of the real big things we want to go for with this game is a dynamic component-based weapon system. So instead of having an AK or an M16, you'd have different components, like you'd have a grip and you'd have a firing chamber and a barrel and a stock and all these different parts that you could mix and match with a bit of restriction, but not too much. Now, I haven't quite finished anything along those lines yet, but the overall idea behind this is what I'm going to show you right now. What we have right here is work from another guy on YouTube called CJ some long number thing, and these are his default gun models, which we have repurposed and as you can see, they're mostly a blocky shape. We do plan to keep them mostly along this line just because it simplifies things and because UV mapping can be done a bit easier that way. In case you're wondering why the camera's being weird, it's because it's kind of hard to use a keyboard, mouse, and a webcam all at the same time. So now, those weapons that you just saw obviously aren't even pretending to be a finished product. Those would be more along the lines of what a finished gun would look like after you took the individual components that you got from various places and combined them. What we're really looking to emphasize in this is scarcity of ammo. We do not want a player to simply be able to go in with, I don't know, a small light machine gun or heavy normally mounted weapon like a saw and just be able to spam full auto for the duration of a fight and be able to pump out a couple hundred shells and easily get them back. That never made much sense to me in video games. So we're going to be relying more on a stealth approach to the game, where you have to be careful and conserve your ammo and not give yourself away with Halo-style rushes into the faces of your enemy. There might be a bit of melee, because that just goes along with stealth fairly well. If you can run up and completely save ammo, why not? But the main reason why we want to do stealth is because, as seen in Halo, it just doesn't feel right. It feels good, sure, but it doesn't feel right if you can run straight up to an opponent and just blast them and hit them and they go down because you have superior shielding. What we'd really like to do is to be able to have it a nearly instant kill system where you and your enemies will die extraordinarily quickly and you have to be very careful to stay alive. Granted, that may be a bit impractical, so we're probably just going to stick to the mostly instant kill feel and have enemies go down really quickly and you go down fairly quickly with just a few shots, which may get frustrating, but you shouldn't have been running up anyway.